You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. Welcome to Oracle Park. My name's Nicholas Callis. A Battle of the Bay coming up. The Oakland Athletics playing the San Francisco Giants. This also a rematch of the 1989 World Series, the last time these two teams played each other in the Fall Classic. Of course, they're both very different now in 2020. But on the mound for the Giants, veteran pitcher and Johnny Cueto, former Cincinnati Red, was an all-star with them. Also won the World Series with the Kansas City Royals in 2015 and has been with the Giants ever since 2016. 6-7 in 18 starts, also has a .367 earned run average. And Marcus Semien
leading off tonight for Oakland
will bat to lead off the ball game.
Marcus
Semien last season finished in the top 3 in MVP voting. Put up very good numbers last year. And to shift back to Johnny Cueto, though his record is 6-7, he has 12 quality starts on the season. He's been one of the Giants' bright spots, though, with the Giants not doing too well this season. He very well might be on the trade block as July 31st approaches. We're still a week away from the All-Star game and the whole All-Star break. But then the next big event in Major League Baseball is the trade deadline. 1 ball, 2 strike count, swing and a foul ball. The count's still 1-2 on Marcus Semien. And yes, the Earthquake series. Yeah, that was really unfortunate. That was the longest delay in World Series history. It lasted a few weeks, and I watched a documentary where some of the players were just like, yeah, the Athletics won the first 2 games, and then before Game 3, it was pregame and an earthquake happened that delayed the game, and then the Athletics ended up sweeping the whole series. But Johnny Cueto strikes out Marcus Semien, and that's how the ball game opens up. Semien not too happy, and you could be the judge on that view. Ball's got across the plate for it to be a defined strike. There's Ramon Laureano. He takes strike 1. Very well might see him in the All-Star game. He's 5th in AL center field All-Star voting. Hasn't put up great numbers this year in terms of average, but his run production has been pretty good, and he's still a great defensive outfielder. Grounded to short, Brandon Crawford throws to Brandon Belt. That's out number 2. 2 quick outs for Johnny Cueto in the top of the first, and with that, we'll take a look at the starting lineup for the Oakland Athletics. You see the cleanup hitter for the A's, Chris Davis, having quite a breakout season. And I know he's hit nearly 50 home runs in the past, but his average this year, his on-base percentage, his OPS, everything has been so good. This is one of the years where he's done great in every aspect of offense. Grounded to second, throw to Belt. That ends the top of the first inning. So no runs on, no hits, and nobody left on for the A's as we go to the bottom of the first. It's still no score here at Oracle Park. And on the mound for the A's is Jesus Luzardo, 5-8 in 18 starts. And 9 of his starts have been regarded as quality, though his record and his earned run average don't look too great at this point in the season. He's still in the A's starting rotation, and the A's still leading the AL West. As Mike Yastrzemski comes to the plate. But Luzardo expected to be the future of the A's rotation, whether he stays in Major League Baseball or not this season. The A's fortunate enough to have a team good enough to be leading the AL West right now. It's quite the opposite for the Giants. The Giants are in last in the NL West, and because the Dodgers are so dominant, it'll be hard for them to make a comeback at all when the second half comes around. Unlikely the Giants will win the division, but I've seen wilder things happen in terms of wild card teams. Counts 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Mike Yastrzemski. Ooh, wow, he chased that pitch. Goodness, that's out number 1.
Batting second, the catcher, Buster Posey.
The good news for the Giants, though, now that I think about it, The Giants no longer have the worst record in the National League. That belongs to the Pirates now. The Giants have the second worst record in the National League. Here's Buster Posey, former MVP, Rookie of the Year, World Series champion. Counts 1 ball and 1 strike. Posey was a young player when the Giants won their first of 3 World Series in the 2010s. Giants World Series champions in 2010, 2012, and 2014. That's popped into the air. Out towards center. Jesus Luzardo gets Posey to fly out to Laureano. That's out number 2. And with 2 outs in the bottom of the first, we'll take a look at the Giants starting lineup. Hunter Pence back on the team, batting cleanup and playing left field. Wilmer Flores getting an opportunity to start. He's playing second, batting fifth. And Pablo Sandoval in the number 7 spot playing third base because Evan Longoria is on the injured list. There's Brandon Belt with 2 outs. Base is empty, bottom of the first. Now, the Giants have won the World Series recently. The A's, though, that 1989 World Champion A's team was the last time that the A's won the World Series. Counts 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, I'll field this question in the live chat. Do I think Johnny Cueto will be a Giant representative in the All-Star game? That's hard to tell. His record and his ERA are a little bit high. And there are too many good pitchers in the National League this year. As that had the distance, but went foul for Brandon Belt to count 1 and 2. I just think there are too many better pitchers in the National League for Cueto to make it. Not that it's impossible, because he still is a good pitcher, just his numbers aren't like they used to be when he was with the Reds. But a 2 ball, 2 strike count on the Giants' first baseman. This game in its early beginnings. That beats the shift. Gets through the right side of the infield. Base hit for Brandon Belt. First hit of the game for either team. Let's take a look at this pitch from Luzardo right over the middle of the plate. Belt saw it well. Squared it up nicely. Didn't get it elevated, but hit it sharply on the ground and got it through the infield. So now here's Hunter Pence, another former All-Star on the Giants team. Pence started his career with the Astros. A great right fielder for them, even though they had struggled between the late 2000s and the early 2010s.
Yep, that ball went out.
But he got traded to the Phillies and then signed a deal with the Giants, played there for several years, really made his name in baseball with the Giants because he was also a part of those World Series champion teams in 2010, 12, and 14. But last season, played for the Texas Rangers, signed a deal in the offseason, made the roster, played DH for them, and going back into free agency this offseason, he signed back with the Giants. And he works a 2-out walk, so Belt singled and Pence walked, putting runners at first and second with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Wilmer Flores, a player who thrives against heading off left-handed pitching. This season, .303 average with 7 home runs and 24 RBIs. Flores spent the bulk of his career with the New York Mets. He was a starting infielder for their 2015 World Series running team that lost to the Royals. As that catch made by Seth Brown. So that'll do it for the first inning. No runs on a hit, 1 walk in the inning, 2 runners left on base. After 1 full inning, no score between the A's and the Giants. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 4, 5, 6 hitters due up in the A's order. Chris Davis, Stephen Piscotty, and Seth Brown. Chris Davis, .329 average, 26 home runs, and 76 RBIs. He's on pace to have his best regular season. Now, he did hit 48 home runs in 2018. He led all of baseball in home runs in 2018. That's undeniable. But this season, he's on pace to have 40-plus home runs. And his average and his RBI count are just phenomenal. No doubt in my mind, Chris Davis will be in the All-Star game. Just by his numbers, his pure production. Might see him at designated hitter. He very well might start, too. 2-ball, 1-strike count. Now, going back to this question, every team has to have a representative, true. So who do you see making it for the Giants? Mike Yastrzemski, 100%. I do believe Mike Yastrzemski will be in the All-Star game. Tony Watson might make it, too. Watson's been doing well as an intermediate closer for the Giants with Reyes Moronta on the injured list. So you might see Watson in there as well. None of the starters. I mean, Cueto has a chance, like I said. Just his numbers aren't great, so I'm not going to hold my breath on him. But Yastrzemski, for one. Pence has been doing pretty well this year, too. Maybe Wilmer Flores. So Yastrzemski, Pence, Flores, and Watson. Those are my top 4 for the Giants. Well, Chris Davis walked. He's now on first, and that'll bring up Stephen Piscotty. 255 hitter entering play. Piscotty on one of the leaderboards in the American League. He's tied for third best in triples in the AL with 5. That's down low, counts 2-0. Well, Chris Davis on first base after walking, and that'll help his on-base percentage a bit more. But he came into this game leading in OBP in the American League with a .416 on-base percentage. He's also second in OPS with a 1.034 on-base plus slugging percentage. Counts 3-0 on Stephen Piscotty. Has played for 2 teams in his major league career, the St. Louis Cardinals and now the Oakland Athletics. 3-ball, no-strike pitch. Just a bit low. Back-to-back walks issued by Johnny Cueto. Chris Davis now on second. Piscotty on first. The Athletics set up well to start the top of the second inning. That'll bring up Seth Brown, who's been one of the best rookies and best replacements so far this year for any major league team. Matt Olson's on the injured list with a broken shin. He'll be there for at least another week. He might make it back before the All-Star break, and Olson might deserve an All-Star spot as well. But Seth Brown has done a great job as a starter. Seth Brown, .310 average, 7 home runs and 22 RBIs. But he grounds it to second. To Crawford for 1, back to Belt. That's a double play. 4-6-3, Flores, Crawford to Belt. Out at second, Piscotty, and out at first, Brown. So raved about him a little bit there, but crucial double play turned here by the Giants. Still a runner on third and 2 outs. Chris Davis on third base. Now here's Chad Pinder. Pinder also a replacement. Tony Kemp's on the injured list, and Kemp will be there a bit longer. As that's a strike, counts 0-1. Kemp's injury was a bit more recent. But Tony Kemp on the injured list with a fractured shin. And he'll be out for another 2 to 3 months. So Pinder will be getting plenty of starting time, provided that he still produces. He's been doing decent for most of this year. Mike Yastrzemski makes that catch in foul territory, and the top of the second inning over. So the Giants spoil the Athletics after the A's got runners on first and second, nobody out. No runs scored on no hits, 2 walks in the inning, and 1 runner left on base. Going to the bottom of the second, it's the A's 0 and the Giants 0. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 6, 7, 8 hitters due up for the Giants in this half inning. Brandon Crawford, Pablo Sandoval, and Steven Duggar. Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of surprising that the A's haven't fallen in the AL West since Matt Olson's been injured. But Seth Brown's been doing such a great job that they've just left him in, and he's been producing. Now, the A's not quite out of hot water when it comes to being in the standings. They don't have a commanding lead like the Dodgers do in the NL West. The A's are 4 games above the Astros. Look at that play by Seth Brown. That's out number 1.
The third baseman.
Brandon Crawford out, and quickly, so in the AL West, the Athletics have a 56-35 record. They're in first. And the Astros are the next best team with a 51-38 record, 4 games back. Every other team in the AL West has a winning percentage under 500. But the A's doing well. They're not out of danger, though. The Astros still in contention for the division. Here's Pablo Sandoval, switch hitter, batting from the right side. He takes strike one. Sandoval signed a huge contract with the Boston Red Sox in the 2014-15 offseason after the Giants won their 3rd World Series of the decade. And that was regarded as one of the worst signings in Major League Baseball history. Sandoval didn't produce. He had some struggle with his weight. Eventually got traded back to the Giants, where he's been playing ever since, and he's starting because Evan Longoria is on the injured list. And then Sandoval pops out there to Sean Murphy. That's out number 2, and let's look at that pitch again. Oh, got him to go up the ladder. Sandoval got under it too much and pops out. So now with 2 outs here, Steven Duggar. The Giants have had a center field issue in their recent history. Steven Duggar's been one of the players that has been trying to fill that role, though he hasn't had too many good offensive numbers. He's pretty fast, but that's about it. Right back to Luzardo on the mound. Throws to Brown. That ends the 2nd inning. So the Giants fail to score. No runs, no hits, and nobody left on in the bottom of the 2nd after 2 full innings. There's no score here at Oracle Park. We'll go to the 3rd. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. 8-9 hitters due up for the A's in this half inning. Sean Murphy, Jesus Luzardo, and Marcus Semien. The Giants at a bit of an advantage considering they're already used to having pitchers regularly in the lineup. The Athletics, who are originally from the American League, playing National League rules, so their pitchers likely to bat and pinch hitters likely to be used in this game by the A's. 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. It's outside, counts 2-1. Sean Murphy, one of the former top prospects of the A's. He's been in Major League Baseball for a few seasons now, and he was a backup to Jonathan Lucroy in 2018. But ever since 2019, he's gotten regular starts, and this season he's been the starting catcher. The Athletics hoping he develops a bit more. His offensive production hasn't been great, but still has a long ways to go in development, and he's expecting him to break out in the coming years. 2 ball, 2 strike pitch coming from Johnny Cueto. Swing and a miss. Posey blocked it well, but since it hit the ground, Posey will have to complete the strikeout. Throws the belt. So score that a strikeout and then a 2-3 put out below it. That's out number 1. And Cueto now has 2 strikeouts. See what that pitch was. Didn't look like it had curveball break. It looked more like a changeup that just dropped out of the zone. Well placed, and Murphy took the bait. So 1 out. Here's Jesus Luzardo. Has rarely gotten to bat this season. As mentioned before, the A's part of the American League, so the designated hitter rule applies in the AL. In the National League, though, it's pitchers batting on the regular. And speaking of interleague series, we've had a few series featured, and we're going to feature some more interleague series in the coming days, but there are several interleague series coming into the end of the first half of the season. Cueto strikes out Luzardo. That's out number 2. And with that, there are the strikeout leaders on the Giants entering play. Johnny Cueto is second on that list. But with 3 strikeouts, he's moved past Kevin Gausman for first. He's at 98 now on the season. 2 outs, top of the 3rd. Here's Marcus Semien. 0 for 1 against Cueto. But we featured the Mets and Yankees earlier. That was an interleague series. This game an interleague series. Also, tomorrow we will have 2 Interleague Series games. The Indians and Reds playing each other, as well as the Cubs and the Reds. Or excuse me, the Cubs and the White Sox. Brandon Belt makes the play. That ends the top of the 3rd inning. I'll go over some of the other Interleague Series we'll have coming up in the next half inning. But for now, no runs on, no hits, and nobody left on for the A's going to the bottom of the 3rd. Still no score at Oracle Park. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis.
The pitcher, Johnny.
Moving to the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Giants will have their 9-1-2 hitters come up to the plate. Johnny Cueto, Mike Yastrzemski, and Buster Posey.
Nope, that's down.
Ball 1 to Cueto. Cueto is signing out of the Dominican Republic by the Reds. Former All-Star. One of baseball's better pitchers in recent history. Grounds that one to short. Semien. To Brown, that's out number 1. And there are the standings in the AL West. Just a graphic for you to demonstrate that it's still a competitive division. Unlike the Giants, who have virtually fallen out of the NL West race. The A's have the lead, but the Astros not out of contention. The Astros 4 games out of the A's entering today. But back to the top of the order for the Giants. Here's Mike Yastrzemski. That's ball 1. But Interleague Series coming up later on this week. And we strategically did it because it seems a lot of Major League Baseball games had interstate rivals play each other. The Indians and Reds, one of those. The Cubs, the White Sox, the other. You'll see both of those games tomorrow. Then on Thursday, there are no games on Thursday. Fridays, that's it actually. For Interleague games, it'll only be today and tomorrow. But we had the Mets and Yankees featured earlier. That was a battle in New York. Then you have the Battle of the Bay between the Athletics and Giants. That being played right now. The Indians and Reds, 2 Major League Baseball teams in Ohio playing each other. And then the Battle of Chicago, the Cubs and White Sox, that taking place tomorrow as well. Luzardo strikes out Yastrzemski there. That's now out number 2. We wanted to feature the Angels and Dodgers this week, but it just didn't fit into the schedule. The Dodgers had a divisional game, and the Marlins and Dodgers game I thought was going to be a good game, and it turned out to be a good game, so I'm glad we featured that one. We try not to feature the same team more than 2 times in every week, and we try to feature everybody at least once, so that's why we didn't want to fit the Dodgers in too much. Yeah, I didn't want to forget about that. That's not like an interstate game, the Cardinals and the Rays, but yeah, that is an interleague game. You're right. Forgot to mention that the Cardinals and Rays playing each other on Friday.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
You can check the times on YouTube or on Twitter. We have the schedule posted on both. On YouTube, on the homepage, there's upcoming live streams, so you can check that out. It's at the top of our homepage, and then on Twitter, it's a pinned tweet. Our schedule's a pinned tweet right at the top of our page, so check it out. Laureano makes the catch, and the Giants go down 1-2-3 after 3 full innings. Still no score at Oracle Park. The A's will send their 2-3-4 hitters up, and we go to the 4th. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 2-3-4 hitters due up in the A's order. Ramon Laureano, Matt Chapman, and Chris Davis.
1-0.
Ball 1 on Laureano, who's 0 for 1 against Cueto. By the way, if you're new to our channel, or you're not, and you just haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so. Not going to beg you, but if you want notifications on when we go live and when we upload videos, you can subscribe to this channel. Also, you can follow us on Twitter and get even more news on the league. But at Virtual MLB is our Twitter handle. Swing and a miss. Cueto opens up the 4th with a strikeout. Also, a note for everybody as well, if you haven't checked them out yet, we have a results and standings update section of our homepage on YouTube. So the idea behind this network is that we feature 3 games every day. Just to make sure that every team is featured at least once every week. But even if your team's not featured on a given day, you can check out our results and standings update that is posted at the end of every day. And it gives the scoring recaps of every game played at the end of every day. You'll also get a standings update. And you'll get to see all the league leaders from both the National League and the American League to keep track of who the best players are from each league. We do a top 10 on that list. So check it out, results and standings update on YouTube. So you can continue to follow your team even if your team isn't featured. That's the idea. Trying to give every team some kind of attention every day. And guaranteed 3 games broadcast. So a total of 6 teams featured every day on this network. I'm Nicholas Callis, by the way, not Matt Vasgersian. I'm a real person. So keep that in mind when you're in the live chat. You can start conversations with me if you want a shout out. I'll give you one. This is happening in real time. I'm not an automation. Matt Chapman strikes out there, though. Back-to-back strikeouts for Cueto. 2 outs, top of the 4th inning, and that'll bring up Chris Davis. But yeah, feel free to start baseball conversations, whether it's about real baseball or virtual baseball. You can enter the live chat. Chat with other viewers. Chat with me. Get a shout out. Doesn't matter to me as long as it's family friendly. We always want to promote that too. Don't put anything in here that's not family friendly. No ball, 1 strike pitch. Well, that was left up in the zone, but Davis a bit late on it. Got jammed too. Brandon Belt able to make the play by himself. And that ends the top of the 4th inning. No runs, no hits, nobody left on for the A's. Also 2 strikeouts for Johnny Cueto in that half inning. Going to the bottom of the 4th. Still no score. Okay, yeah, I'm neither one of those 3 guys. Not Matt Vasgersian, Mark DeRosa, or Dan Plesac. My name's Nicholas Callis. Entering this bottom of the 4th inning, though, the Giants will have their 3, 4, 5 hitters come up to the plate. Brandon Belt, Hunter Pence, and Wilmer Flores. No ball, 1 strike count. Brandon Belt, 5th round draft pick in the 2009 MLB draft, and he's been a huge part of the Giants' success in the 2010s decade. Counts 1-1. He's been a very consistent first baseman up until recent seasons, but he used to be one of the more feared left-handed hitters in the National League. Again, has dropped off in recent seasons, but still playing first, still one of the franchise faces on this team. I have doubts that Belt nor Posey will get traded when it comes to the trade deadline time. Not that it's impossible, but I just think it's unlikely. But the Giants, one of those teams rebuilding and looking for prospects, so there might be several players on the table when July 31st comes around. Got the All-Star break next week, and then there will be about 2 weeks before the trade deadline.
The left fielder, number 8, Hunter.
Belt strikes out there. That's out number 1. There's the pitch-peak comparison now between both of these guys. Luzardo throwing 96 on average. Cueto throwing 91. But with 1 out, bottom of the 4th, here's Hunter Pence. That's strike 1 on Hunter Pence, 2nd round draft pick in 2004. Again, started his career with the Astros. Also played for the Phillies and spent the bulk of his career with the Giants, where he also had most notable success. Flies out there to Stephen Piscotty. That's out number 2. A 60-game season, could it favor a lesser team? Absolutely. Absolutely it could. And just because I'm a bit biased toward the Pirates, just because I grew up, watching them, and I still do. But think about the Pirates when they had that 11-game winning streak in 2018, and that helped them have an above 500 winning percentage to end the season. But imagine in only a 60-game season what that 11-game winning streak could have done before they hit their big fall off. But imagine what that could have done if there were only 60 games in that season. Pirates would have been a potential division winner, if not a first wild card team. So absolutely, a 60-game season could benefit some teams that are maybe underdogs or maybe could just get hot and then use that to their advantage. It's all about getting hot at the right time, something the Nationals proved last season. They got hot at the end of the year. They started at the beginning abysmally, but toward the end they got on a hot streak, won the games they had to, took it one game at a time, and that one game at a time approach took them to win the World Series. So, absolutely, teams that will get hot at the right time may very well win the 2020 World Series with a 60-game season. Because there's a less window of opportunity. You're gonna have teams that are going to thrive in that atmosphere by just getting hot and staying hot through that short stretch, and then you're gonna have teams that are never gonna get in a rhythm and are gonna drop off the map early and stay down because there's not enough time to build. There's not enough time to build up a rhythm or to, take your low, but then have the opportunity to swing up. You're talking about 60 games as compared to 162. Brandon Crawford at the plate. Wilmer Flores is on first. He walked just now off Luzardo. No ball, one strike count on the Giants shortstop. That's inside. Counts 1-1. Crawford, a former All-Star in the National League, has played his entire career with the Giants. High fly ball out toward left field. That's trailing into foul territory, and Davis can't run it down. The count's 1-2. That's out toward left field again, this time playable for Chris Davis. He makes the catch, and that ends the bottom of the fourth inning. The Giants get no runs on no hits. There was one walk in the inning, and no runners left on base. Going to inning 5. Still no score between the A's and the Giants. Well, Heidi Watney's about to come on your screen, and she's not going to say much, or nothing at all, actually, which is kind of sad. But anyway, we'll go to the fifth inning. The A's coming to bat. Also, you're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 5, 6, 7 hitters due up in the top of the fifth inning. Stephen Piscotty, Seth Brown, and Chad Pinder. But Johnny Cueto's still on the mound. Both he and Jesus Luzardo have been pitching efficiently in this game. Limited base runners by both pitchers, which is reflective in the fact that there's no score up to this point. Cueto also under 50 pitches coming into the fifth inning. And Luzardo's pitch count isn't too high either. Hitters count on Piscotty, 2 ball, no strike count. Piscotty, quite a touching story on how he got to the A's. A couple seasons ago, his mother was sick, and she lived out in California, so the Cardinals decided to trade Piscotty to the A's just so Steven could be closer to his mother, and she ended up passing away, and I remember he hit a home run on the first game he came back after he was off on the bereavement list, but it's a really touching story and very unfortunate he lost his mother. But that's one of the big reasons he's in Oakland now. And he's helped out this team too. Great defensive outfielder. Has a plus arm out in right field and gets hits like that every once in a while. Very consistent hitter. So Piscotty on base to start off the fifth inning. And look at that. That was a pitch by the belt, too. Usually hitters elevate that, but Piscotty got on top of it and hit a sharp ground ball up the middle. So now here's Seth Brown, 0 for 1. He grounded out in the second inning. Seth Brown, 0 for 1. He grounded out in the second inning. A 1 pitch. Counts 1-1. Seth Brown replacing Matt Olson, who's still on the injured list with a broken shin. He'll be back, though, within the week and very well might make the All-Star game, Matt Olson. But Brown has been doing an excellent job as a replacement first baseman. Counts 2-2. Hadn't played much in Major League Baseball, but this season getting his feet quite wet and perhaps the rest of his body as well. Gotten to swim a bunch in Major League Baseball. Being the starting first baseman at all. Strikes out there. Johnny Cueto now at 6 strikeouts.
Now batting, second baseman, Jan.
Just a well-placed off-speed pitch. Seth Brown thought it might have been able to clip the corner. Ends up falling out of the zone. Now here's Chad Pinder, who fouls that pitch off. Counts 0-1. Pinder flew out back in the second inning, getting his second plate appearance here in the 5th. Swing and a miss, counts 0-2. Mike Trout.
Count 0-2.
Mike Trout is also due back sometime within the next week. It's going to be a photo finish for both Trout and Olsen to get activated from the injured list, and both of them still might qualify for the All-Star game. So it's kind of exciting as well. They're still on the All-Star lists, even though they're on the injured list, and some of their stats have still been holding up. They're still fan favorites. So you might see them. You still might see them in the All-Star game. Trout and Olsen. 0-2 pitch on Pinder, and he flies that one out to right field. Yastrzemski makes the catch. That's out number 2.
Now batting, the catcher, Sean Murphy.
So with 2 outs, here comes Sean Murphy, who's 0-1, struck out in the 3rd inning. One of Cueto's 6 strikeouts up to this point. That ball fouled off, the count 0-1. Murphy in the last game went 1 for 3. This is the first game of a 2-game set between these two teams. Usually, interleague games don't last more than 2 games. But that play made by Brandon Belt, that ends the top of the 5th inning. No runs on a hit, and 1 left on for the Athletics. Even score lines going to the bottom of the 5th. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. There's Heidi Watney. She usually talks, but not now. She does give great insight, just sometimes she just doesn't speak, which
Leading up for the Giants,
is like hit or miss.
the third baseman,
7, 8, 9 hitters due up
Pablo.
for the Giants coming into the bottom of the 5th. Pablo Sandoval, Steven Duggar, and Johnny Cueto. Sandoval, switch hitter, batting from the right side. He's 0-1, popped out to Sean Murphy back in inning number 2. And Luzardo, slightly higher than Cueto's pitch count coming into the 5th inning. Luzardo at 53 pitches. Again, still efficient. He's given up no runs on 1 hit, just as Cueto has. Cueto gave up his first hit of the game in the top of the 5th to Stephen Piscotty. So neither pitcher will throw a no-hitter in this game. However, this is still a pitching duel to behold. Both pitchers on point in this game. One pitch down low, counts 2-1. Well, I thought that the A's and the Giants already played each other in Oakland. So I remember wanting to schedule one of those games, but then I thought, it was an interleague series, and I didn't want to push that too much. As that's off the third base bag, Chapman won't have a play, and Sandoval's on with the Giants' second hit as a team in this game. But yeah, I thought they already played each other in a 2-game set, which maybe they are going back, but I haven't looked that far on the calendar yet. So leadoff runner on for the Giants now here is Steven Duggar. Fly ball toward the gap in right center. Played by Stephen Piscotty. That's out number 1.
The pitcher, number 47, Johnny Cueto.
So now Johnny Cueto coming to the plate. After the flyout by Duggar, Cueto grounded out to short in his first at-bat. Might be a bunt situation here as well, but Sandoval doesn't run well at first. They're going to try it anyway. Down the first base line, hugging the line. Look at Brown. Yeah, makes that play easily. To Semien for one. Back to Luzardo covering, but not in time. Cueto beats out the back end. So the Athletics stifle the sacrifice attempt. The lead runner, Sandoval, cut down at second. 2 outs, a runner still on for the Giants, though, as we go back to the top of the order. It's Mike Yastrzemski scheduled to bat. And here he comes. Struck out twice against Luzardo in this one. First pitch misses outside, counts 1-0. Yastrzemski, 7th in the National League. He struck out 99 times. That's the 7th least amount of times a batter has struck out. Counts 2-0 on Yaz, the grandson of one of the great baseball players in history, Carl Yastrzemski. Ground ball right side, passed Seth Brown into the corner, but it's short in right field, and Piscotty has a good arm. Plus, Cueto doesn't run well being a pitcher, so no Giants score on that hit. But it's a double for Mike Yastrzemski that moves both him and Cueto in scoring position. Cueto on third, Yastrzemski on second. 2 outs, and Buster Posey will come up to the plate. Buster Posey, a former Rookie of the Year. Won it in 2010. Also won the Most Valuable Player award in 2012. 3-time World Series champion. Has slowed down in recent years, but regarded as one of the best catchers in recent history around all of Major League Baseball, and he comes through in this situation. Cueto scores from third. Yastrzemski will score from second. And Posey on his way to second base with an RBI double. It's 2-0 Giants in the bottom of the 5th.
The first baseman, number 9, Brandon Belt.
So 2 outs, bottom of the 5th. Now here's Brandon Belt. Runner still in scoring position for the Giants, but they now have the lead. Jesus Luzardo blinks first. Luzardo's given up 3 hits in this inning, which have yielded 2 runs, as Paul Blackburn and Daniel Mengjian. Now in the Athletics bullpen, both right-handed pitchers, and they're both also long relief pitchers. Pitchers who have been in the starting rotation before, didn't make it this year, but still on the Major League roster. The Athletics have quite a dominant pitching rotation. Part of the reason why they're leaders in the AL West. Two-two's in the air, right center. Piscotty seems to have a play. He makes the catch, and that ends the bottom of the 5th inning. But 2-run score for the Giants on 3 hits. The RBI is credited to Buster Posey, and after 5 full innings, the Giants have a 2-0 lead over the A's. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 9-1-2 hitters due up in the A's order to begin this half inning. Jesus Luzardo, Marcus Semien, and Ramon Laureano. Paul Blackburn and Daniel Mengjian still warming up in the A's bullpen. But Jesus Luzardo bats for himself in the top of the 6th inning. Oh, 1's a strike, counts 0-2. Luzardo still no hits this season. Of course, he primarily pitches in the American League where the designated hitter is, but has an opportunity to pick up his first hit of the season. Grounds that pitch foul. The count's still 0-2. Ripped down the right field line and foul. The count's still 0-2. Cueto left a hanging off speed pitch over the middle of the plate. Another 0-2 pitch coming. Ground ball right side. Belt plays it. Flips to Cueto covering. Luzardo out at first. And that's out number 1 in the top of the 6th inning. Also, Johnny Cueto coming into this inning with 6 strikeouts. He's been pitching very well in this game, as is Luzardo. As Luzardo made a few mistakes last inning that allowed the Giants to score 2 runs. Well, both these pitchers have been pitching efficiently and have each pitched 4 scoreless innings. Cueto pitching 1 more scoreless inning. He's up to 5 scoreless innings now and still on the mound here in the top of the 6th. Here's the top of the A's order up to the plate. Marcus Semien 0 for 2 out of the leadoff spot. Former top 3 finisher in most valuable player voting in the American League last season. Counts 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ground ball left side, bobbled a bit by Sandoval. Recovers, throws, and gets his man. That's out number 2.
Number 22.
So with 2 outs on the top of the 6th, here comes Ramon Laureano. But speaking of most valuable player voting, I mean, it was such a hard season last year for most valuable players, especially in the American League. There were so many talented players, so many players that qualified, and Semien fell short to Mike Trout. Mike Trout won his 3rd most valuable player award in 2019. Out to left field, played by Hunter Pence. That ends the top of the 6th. So the A's go down 1-2-3 off Johnny Cueto. Cueto now has pitched 6 scoreless innings in this one. The Giants will have the chance to bat in the 6th when we go to the bottom half. It's still 2-0. The Giants lead it. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis, and that's Hunter Pence batting to lead off the bottom of the 6th for the Giants. He's reached base once in 2 plate appearances, but no hits and 1 official at bat. That's fouled away. Count is 1-1. That's out toward right field. Stephen Piscotty seems to have a play. And he does make it. He makes the catch out and right. 1 out in the bottom of the 6th.
Now batting, second baseman, Wilmer.
And with that, Wilmer Flores will come to the plate. Flores has also walked in this game. No hits, though, and 1 official at bat, but he reached base once on that walk in the 4th. Fouled off, count 0-1. Yeah, a lot of people say Mike Trout's the best player in baseball, and a lot of them would be accurate in making that statement, though it's still very ambiguous. And he has put up consistent numbers offensively. He's made several defensive plays, outstanding defensive plays in center field throughout his entire career. Very valuable to have. And that's why he's the reigning most valuable player and a 3-time most valuable player in the American League. Wilmer Flores grounds out. Seth Brown able to make that play. Bob Melvin, I don't know whether he's happy or not. Can't really tell with his facial expression after that shot. But 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. Here comes Brandon Crawford. 0 for 2 with a flyout and a lineout in this game. Crawford, a former All-Star, also a former Gold Glove winner in the National League for shortstops. Crawford's always been a talented player, but he's had on and off years throughout his career. Some years his offensive numbers are high, other years they're not. This year he's kind of in the middle. Nothing too special about his offense, but still a great defender at shortstop. I was about to say Bruce Bochy likes him a lot, which he does. But the Giants, under new management now, Gabe Kapler, who managed the Phillies last year in his first season as a Major League manager, now managing the Giants. Bruce Bochy parted ways with the Giants at the end of the 2019 season. And Bruce Bochy, a great manager with the Giants, leading them to 3 World Series championships over 5 years. It's that pitch into right field, and Crawford on with a 2-out single.
Number 48, Pablo.
So 2 outs, bottom of the 6th, runner on, and now here's Pablo Sandoval, who started scoring last inning. He led off the inning with a single. And even though he wasn't the runner to score, when Johnny Cueto tried to sacrifice him to second base with 1 out, Cueto beat out the back end. And after Cueto reached, Yastrzemski doubled. And then Buster Posey doubled both Cueto and Yastrzemski home. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Sandoval. Switch hitter batting from the right side. Yeah, 60-game season, same thing. Hot player could win the most valuable player award. And I agree with you, Bruce Bochy, certainly a Hall of Fame manager for what he did. It's kind of unfortunate that the end of his career resulted in the Giants being not great, but sometimes it's good for a manager to understand when mission's accomplished and then you move on. And that's something that I remember Joe Maddon said, when he left the Cubs. His statement was mission accomplished. They won a World Series. They developed their players well. They became a perennial playoff team in the middle of the 2010 decade, and they got a World Series championship out of it.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
So it's good when managers have that mentality, not to overstay their welcomes and understand when the job was done and it's time for a fresh face or a fresh look to a team. Strike 3 called on Pablo Sandoval. So no runs on a hit for the Giants. 1 runner left on base through 6 full innings. The Giants have a 2-0 lead over the A's. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. 3, 4, 5 hitters due up in the A's order: Matt Chapman, Chris Davis, and Stephen Piscotty. Matt Chapman, regarded as one of the best defensive third basemen in all of Major League Baseball. Won the Gold Glove Award for third baseman among American League players last year, as a couple players now warming up in the Giants bullpen. Swinging a high fly ball out toward left field. Hunter Pence under it. He makes the catch. That's out number 1 here in the top of the 7th. And with Chris Davis coming to the plate. I will point out for the Angels that before Joe Maddon got hired by the Angels had a brief period, actually last season as a matter of fact, where they hired Brad Ausmus to be the manager. Ausmus, a former manager of the Detroit Tigers. But I don't know if that was the best choice. Ausmus means well, and he did decently as a manager, but just didn't turn around teams as quickly as they had hoped. The Tigers kept him around, and he was the manager that replaced Jim Leyland. That's belted to center field. Back goes Duggar toward the wall. He makes the catch up against the wall. That ball sounded good off the bat of Chris Davis, but this is a ballpark that favors pitchers. And Duggar able to run that one down. That's out number 2. But, yeah, you had Mike Scioscia, who had been around for a long time. Scioscia was the manager of the World Series in 2002 when the Angels beat the Giants. I mean, he'd been around for a long time. So to have a new face at manager for the Angels was a bit strange. But you had Ausmus managing in 2019, and the Angels didn't do very well collectively, didn't make playoffs again. And so then they hired Joe Maddon, which Joe Maddon not doing great this season in terms of the virtual league, because the Angels still below 500, and looking at this point in the year, they're not likely to win the division. But we'll still see. He's only in his first year. Well, Johnny Cueto gets the strikeout of Stephen Piscotty. And he's kept the Athletics scoreless through 7 innings. Going to the bottom of the 7th, the Giants still lead 2-0.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Now pitching for the A's, number 58.
Paul Blackburn now on the mound for the Athletics, making his 28th appearance of the year.
Leading up for the Giants, the center fielder.
And the Giants will have their 8-9 hitters come to the plate in this half inning. Steven Duggar, Johnny Cueto, and Mike Yastrzemski. The Giants scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. Both runs scored off Jesus Luzardo, who pitched 6 full innings. Gave up 2 earned runs on 5 hits. Now Paul Blackburn in the game. Out of the bullpen. 1 ball, no strike pitch on the Giants center fielder. That's out toward left center. Chris Davis running for it, and it drops before it gets in his glove. And that will be a leadoff single for Steven Duggar.
The pitcher, number 47, Johnny Cueto.
Steven Duggar on a 6-game hitting streak now. Gotten hot recently. Well accumulated hit streak at 6 games now. And with that, Johnny Cueto will come to the plate. Cueto 0 for 2. In his last at bat, he reached base on a fielder's choice. Bunt situation here as well. And Cueto does show bunt down the first base line. Brown plays it. Uses left-handedness to his advantage. And again, Cueto reaches on a failed sacrifice bunt. That'll go down as a fielder's choice. Duggar out at second. And again, it's unconventional that a pitcher beats out the back end of a sac bunt attempt. But Cueto's done it twice. There is Mike Yastrzemski at the top of the order for the Giants. 1 for 3, he doubled, and was a huge part of that bottom of the 5th when the Giants scored 2. Ball 1 to Yastrzemski. Two to nothing. The Giants lead the Athletics. They're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Counts 2-0. 1 out, Johnny Cueto on first base. This is game 1 of a 2-game set between these two California-based teams. And unsurprisingly, California has the most Major League Baseball teams in a single state. The Padres, the Giants, the Athletics, the Dodgers, and the Angels.
Inside, ball 3.
And a hitter's count on Yastrzemski, 3 balls, 1 strike. That's ball 4. Couple runners on now for the Giants with 1 out. Paul Blackburn has thrown 8 pitches out of the bullpen and has allowed 2 runners on. 1 on a hit and 1 on a walk. Now here's Buster Posey, who's 1 for 3, doubled in a couple runs back in the 5th inning. And so far, those have been the only runs scored in this game by either team. The Athletics still getting blanked. That's foul, the count 0-1. No ball, 1 strike count. Up high, counts 1-1. It was Mero Petit and Jake Diekman. Now warming up in the bullpen for the Athletics, and Petit, a former San Francisco Giant. Two ball, 1 strike count.
Ball 3.
Inside just a bit. Counts 3-1. Hitters count with Cueto on second and Yastrzemski on first. That's ball 4. Blackburn has loaded the bases. The Athletics eligible to go to their bullpen now. Blackburn has faced 3 hitters, and Brandon Belt, a lefty, coming to the plate. But Diekman will not come in. Blackburn will face Belt, at least for the moment. Belt 1 for 3. His only hit was back in the first inning. Ooh, that was a breaking ball left up in the zone, and Belt took it. Counts 0-1. That's just a bit low. Counts 1-1. Cueto on third. Yastrzemski on second. Posey on first. Cueto reached on a fielder's choice. Yastrzemski walked, as did Buster Posey. And now the count 1-2 on Belt.
I got to count 1 and 2.
Ooh, that was in the middle of the zone. Belt only able to foul it off. Again fouled off, and Belt milking out this plate appearance. A chance for the Giants to break this game open. Bases loaded, 1 out. And the heart of the order at the plate. That one misses up high, counts even 2-2. Three and two's the count. Paul Blackburn just came out of the bullpen to start this bottom of the 7th. And despite getting 1 out, he has worked himself into some trouble. That's foul. The count's still full. 3-2. Belt strategically taking pitches, spoiling some others, and really forcing this high-intensity situation. That's strike 3 at the top of the zone. Belt not too thrilled with the call. That's a crucial strikeout for Paul Blackburn. And there are now 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now here comes Hunter Pence. Reached base once on a walk back in the first inning, but has no hits in 2 official at-bats. This is a pivotal moment in this game. The Giants with an opportunity to break the game open. And the Athletics still trying to stay in the game, keep it within reach. Just a 2-run game. But Cueto pitching well, and the Giants threatening to score here in the 7th. That misses. Counts 2-0. Hitters count on Pence. 2 balls, no strikes, nowhere to put him. Giants already up 2-0. Down the right field line. That stays fair. Cueto scores from third. Yastrzemski scoring from second. Posey goes from first to third. And Hunter Pence drives in 2 more runs for the Giants. With this double, it's now 4-0. The Giants lead the A's.
Your attention, please.
Blackburn now out of the game, and coming in, Daniel Mengden.
Number 33.
4-2 in 14 appearances. Has an ERA of .284 in 38 innings. He's one of the long relief pitchers, and he wasn't recently warming up, but comes into the game. 2 outs in the half inning, but 2 runners in scoring position. Posey on third, Pence on second. Here's Wilmer Flores. Flores 0 for 2 with a walk and takes ball 1 upstairs. Blackburn, the scoreline not over on him yet. Those 2 runners on base are still his responsibility. but so far has given up 2 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. 2-0 is the count. Flores this season, .383 average with runners in scoring position. Toward the middle, past Semien, that's a base hit. Posey scores from second. Laureano's throw is offline. Pence scores from second. Posey in from third, Pence in from second. That's a 2-run single. For Wilmer Flores, it's now 6-0. The Giants still have the lead. And now the book closed on Paul Blackburn. 4 earned runs given up in 2/3 of an inning pitched. Now here's Brandon Crawford. Oh, one's up high, counts 1-1. Steven Duggar started this inning with a single. He's the number 8 hitter. This is the 8th hitter of this half inning coming to the plate for the Giants. And now the count's 1-2. The A's had kept this game close. Jesus Luzardo pitched 4 scoreless innings, then gave up 2 runs in the 5th. Pitched a scoreless 6th, and Paul Blackburn charged with 4 earned runs in the 7th. Daniel Megden now in the game. Allowed the hit that gave up those 2 runs, but both of them, the 2 runs that he gave up, were both charged to Blackburn, totaling 4 in his outing. Flores on first, 2-ball, 2-strike count with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Popped into the air. Shallow center field, played by Semien. That ends the 7th inning, but the Giants get a couple 2-run hits. One by Hunter Pence, a 2-run double, and one from Wilmer Flores, a 2-run single. And after 7 full innings, the Giants now have a 6-0 lead over the A's. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Coming into the 8th inning, the A's will have their 6, 7, 8 hitters come up to the plate. Seth Brown, Chad Pinder, and Sean Murphy. Johnny Cueto still on the mound. Has limited the A's to just 1 hit through 7 full innings. He's been throwing a masterpiece in this game. And this is the tables turning a bit. The A's are a division leader in the AL West, and the Giants have the 2nd worst record in the National League. They're last in the NL West. But the Giants winning this game 6-0, getting 3 2-run hits to score all 6 of their runs. And the Athletics have yet to score yet. They've reached base on a few walks, but only 1 hit to this point off Cueto. And Cueto's pitch count has been quite efficient. Still 15 away from 100. And he very well might throw a complete game in this one, provided he doesn't let up too many base runners or allow any runs. But right now he's throwing a shutout too. 3-ball, 2-strike pitch. Strike 3 called at the bottom part of the zone. That's out number 1. And Cueto now with 8 strikeouts. And we'll look at the starter comparison. Cueto not quite done yet. But there are the final numbers on Jesus Luzardo. 2 earned runs given up on 5 hits. He walked only 2 batters and struck out 4. Not a bad start for him, but the bullpen hasn't helped him out. The bullpen collectively, actually really all the runs were charged to Paul Blackburn, who gave up 4 earned runs in 2/3 innings. Or 2/3 of an inning on the mound. Daniel Megden got the final out of the bottom of the 7th inning. 3 pitchers have been on the mound for the A's. 1 gave up 2, 1 gave up 4. Cueto so far doing it all himself for the Giants. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fouled off, the count 1-1. Swing and a miss, the count's 1-2. Look at that, Cueto in the 20s on his pitches out of the zone. He's thrown so many strikes in this game. And he's been lighting up the zone and helping his team out tremendously by preventing the Athletics from scoring. A team that has been offensively heavy throughout the whole season. That's into right field and a one-out single for Chad Pinder. That's just the second hit that Cueto's given up.
Murphy.
2 walks by Cueto, 2 hits given up, but 8 struck out, and no earned runs given up to this point. Now here's Sean Murphy. Murphy 0 for 2 officially, grounded to Belt. Throws to Crawford for 1. And over to first where Cueto is covering out to a double play. Out at second, Pinder. Out at first, Murphy. Cueto has pitched 8 scoreless innings, just 2 hits given up and no earned runs to this point. Going to the bottom of the 8th, it's still a 6-0 Giants lead. You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network, brought to you by MLB The Show 20. I'm Nicholas Callis. Bottom of the order due up for the Giants in this half inning. Pablo Sandoval, Steven Duggar, and Johnny Cueto in the pitcher's spot. Not decided yet whether Cueto will bat in this half inning or get relieved, but he's given up just 2 hits, and he's thrown under 100 pitches in this game. And very well in a position to throw a complete game shutout. And his team's given up enough of a lead where perhaps Gabe Kapler could be confident in giving him the opportunity. No ball, 2 strike count on Sandoval. Switch hitter batting from the left side for the first time in this game. Batted from the right side when Jesus Luzardo was on the mound. Mengden got the final out of the bottom of the 7th, now pitching in the bottom of the 8th. Yusmeiro Petit and J.B. Wendelken now warming up in the A's bullpen. Both right-handed pitchers. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Sandoval, the third baseman of the Giants. Just outside, counts even 2-2. Strike 3 caught on the inside edge. Sandoval not happy, but he'll go back to the bench accepting the strikeout.
Now batting, the center fielder, Steven.
Oh, you be the judge on this one. Was that a strike? Here comes Steven Duggar, 1 for 3. Also extended his hitting streak to 6 games after getting that single. That was just last inning he singled. You see there's offensive splits. His average on-base percentage and slugging percentage all a bit low. His slugging percentage in the mid-300s. He's never really been a power hitter, but the Giants, I'm sure, expecting a bit more from him in terms of getting on base. Ground ball right side, Seth Brown steps on first base himself. That's out number 2.
The pitcher, number 47, Johnny Cueto.
So 2 outs, bottom of the 8th inning, the pitcher spot coming up. And Johnny Cueto will bat, which means we'll likely see him in the top of the 9th inning. And again, he's in position to throw a complete game shutout against the A's. He's given up 2 hits, has allowed no runs. He's also struck out 8 A's batters, and his pitch count's under 100. Takes strike 1 there against Mengden. Counts 0-1. Mengden got the final out of the bottom of the 7th inning and in position to pitch a complete inning in the 8th. Counts 1-1. But Jesus Luzardo, the starter, responsible for 2 of the runs given up to the Giants. Both were earned, and Paul Blackburn gave up 4 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning in the 7th. The Giants got 2 runs in the 5th inning on an RBI double by Buster Posey. And then in the 7th, they got an RBI double from Hunter Pence and an RBI single from Wilmer Flores. Both scored 2 runs. And that's how it's 6-0. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Johnny Cueto. Fouled away, the count's still 1-2. Fly ball. Shallow outfield. Played by Semien. That's out number 3. The Giants fail to score in the bottom of the 8th inning, but they still have a 6-run lead going into the 9th, and Johnny Cueto most likely will get the opportunity to pitch a complete game shutout here in front of the home crowd at Oracle Park. The A's will start with a pinch hitter. 9-1-2 hitters due up. Mark Canha, the pinch hitter, to lead off. Then Marcus Semien and Ramon Laureano scheduled to bat. And here's Cueto on the mound for the 9th. Canha takes strike 1. 288 hitter with 7 home runs and 31 RBIs. Getting his first plate appearance in of the game.
Ball, that's outside.
Counts 1-1, and you see Trevor Gott and Danny Jimenez warming up in the Giants bullpen just in case, but the Giants still have a 6-run lead. So Cueto's leash not too tight. Inside, counts 2-1. Two ball, 1 strike count. That's outside. Counts 3-1. Marcus Semien would bat next. Cueto's given up 4 base runners in this entire game. 2 on walks and 2 on hits. Grounded left side. There's Brandon Crawford. Throws to Brandon Belt. That's out number 1.
The batter, number 10, shortstop, Marcus Semien.
So 1 out. Pinch hitter neutralized, and the order recycles for the Athletics. Here comes Marcus Semien to the plate. Semien 0 for 3 out of the leadoff spot in the A's order. Usually a player that comes through for the Athletics, but in this game, no hits. Semien might make the All-Star game. He's put up good numbers this year. Not representative of this game specifically, but normally he's a consistent hitter. No ball, 2 strike count. Too high, counts 1-2. Cueto now at 100 pitches. He's thrown 69 strikes out of 100 pitches. Has had a very efficient ball game. Pop fly. Well, maybe not a pop fly. That's hit well out to left center field. Duggar still able to make the catch. That's out number 2 in the top of the 9th inning. The Athletics with 1 out to work with. Ramon Laureano comes to the plate. And the fans getting behind Johnny Cueto here at Oracle Park. A team that struggled this season, but a bright spot coming here in Johnny Cueto's most likely his last start before the All-Star break. And you have witnessed a masterful pitching performance in this game by Johnny Cueto. That's ball 1 on Laureano, the center fielder of the A's. Won a Gold Glove last year, and rightfully so. One of the best arms in the outfield in Major League Baseball. Covers a lot of range. And it's a pretty good bat as well.
Ball 2.
Counts 2-1.
2 balls, 1 strike, the count.
Out toward right center field. Duggar running after it. He's not going to get there. And that stays in the ballpark. Laureano rounds second, but stops there. Content with a 2-out double. That's the first extra base hit by the Athletics in this game. So now here's Matt Chapman, who has an opportunity with a runner in scoring position and 2 outs to end Johnny Cueto's shutout. Crowd a bit more quiet now, but still getting behind. Still getting behind their pitcher. In the dirt. Ball one on Chapman. Johnny Cueto is pitched. This entire game up to this point. No runs given up by the Athletics. They've gotten 3 hits and 2 walks. Up the middle, that's a base hit. Laureano will score from second base. It's now 6-1. The Athletics are on the board. There goes the shutout for Johnny Cueto.
The left fielder, number 2, Chris Davis.
Hit number 4 for the Athletics, and Matt Chapman picks up an RBI. Laureano scores from second base. I'm not surprised that Chapman gets a hit there. I mean, he's one of the best hitters in the American League. And with that, here comes Gabe Kapler. Cueto done. Couldn't get the shutout and won't get the opportunity to complete the game. But listen to this crowd.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention.
The crowd pleased with Cueto's performance, and pending an A's comeback, he'll get the win in this game on the mound. Trevor Gott, at the moment, responsible for getting the final out of this game. Matt Chapman on first base, and here's Chris Davis. But Johnny Cueto, 8 2/3 innings pitched. Gave up 1 earned run. That runner on first still his responsibility. So this line score not officially closed on him yet.
0-2.
But a great performance from Johnny Cueto. Can't say it any more than that. 1 earned run in 8 2/3 innings. Limited hits and base runners. And now Trevor Gott has Chris Davis down in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. This is game 1 of a 2-game set between these two. Just misses. Counts 1 and 2. One ball, 2 strike count. Swing and a miss. Trevor Gott gets the strikeout, and the Giants have taken game 1 of this 2-game set on the backs of Johnny Cueto, Buster Posey, Hunter Pence, and Wilmer Flores. 6-1 final score. Well, this is not changing much for standings immediately, but the Giants do improve to 35 and 56. They're still going to be in last place in the NL West no matter what, but a feel-good win against one of their cross-state rivals. And the Oakland Athletics fall to 56 and 36. They're still in the lead for the American League West. However,
Our final line score tonight.
if the Astros win today, the Astros will move to within 3 games of the A's, and the A's not guaranteed to win the division. It's still close between them and the Astros,
For the
so wins still count for them. And right now, they lost a game to a team with one of the worst records in the National League. But celebration for the Giants, and they were given quite a show by Johnny Cueto, who pitched 8 2/3 innings, gave up 1 earned run on 4 hits, walked 2 batters, but struck out 8. Jesus Luzardo pitched well as well. He pitched 6 full innings, gave up 2 earned runs on 5 hits, but with Johnny Cueto's performance, Luzardo hit with the loss in this game. Both pitchers got a quality start, but Cueto, just a masterful performance. Got taken out in the 9th. Trevor Gott got the final out. And that just about does it. Quick scoring recap. The Giants got 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th on a Buster Posey 2-out, 2-run double. And then in the bottom of the 7th inning, they sent 8 hitters to the plate, scored 4 of them. 2 runs were scored on a Hunter Pence RBI double, and then Wilmer Flores hit a 2-run single, tallying 4 runs in total. All those runs were charged to Paul Blackburn, and all of them were earned. And then the Athletics broke out against Johnny Cueto in the top of the ninth ended the shutout, forced Cueto out of the game. They got one run after Matt Chapman singled home Ramon Laureano from second base. But limited production from the A's in this one. The Giants supported Johnny Cueto with their bats, and the Giants pull out a 5-run victory here at home at Oracle Park. And again, they take game one of this 2-game set. This has been a presentation of Major League Baseball's virtual network. This game and all of our games are brought to you by MLB The Show 20. My name's Nicholas Callis, saying so long from Oracle Park. And once again, the final score, the San Francisco Giants 6 and the Oakland Athletics 1.